while these potatoes are cooking, you want to remember to stir them every now and then. The longer you leave them on one side, you can get them to brown a little bit. And so these guys are coming along pretty nicely. I tend to get carried away with the oil. I got a little too much oil in here. And once you have all this, if you catch it right at the beginning, you can dump some out. But I have all this in here, and they're a little bit too oily, so they'll still be good, but you could use less oil than that. We're going to go ahead and turn on our skillet that we're going to saute our veggies in. We're going to saute the veggies in a separate skillet, and we're going to use a medium-high heat. And we'll let the skillet heat up for a minute. The eggs with the yogurt, I've had to mix them quite a bit. The yogurt was a little bit chunky, a little bit harder than with milk or something like that, because that's all creamy already. But it did mix up and it mixed in. I was kind of worried at the beginning because it was kind of chunky, but it's looking good now, and this should be a nice and fluffy egg base. So as this heats up for our veggies, we can add a little bit of oil to the bottom of the skillet. Add a lot less that time. And you always you can turn the pan and everything to coat it. And that's going to heat up. Now, I'm going to cook the kale the longest, and that'll kind of cook down and wither, just like spinach or anything else like that when you saute it. So we're going to give that a second. I'm going to put a lid on it. You've got to find a lid in this kitchen. And when that cooks down, we're just going to throw the squash and the purple pepper on there for a minute, and we'll be back with you. Our kale looking pretty good. I burned it on the bottom a little bit, has the heat up too high, but we're going to go ahead and add our squash and our purple pepper. Mix it in just a little bit. And I turned the heat down a little bit. You know, when you're on unfamiliar stoves and everything, you're never quite used to it. Then, when you're at home, you should be kind of comfortable with your own stove, I think. We'll put a lid back on that for a second. I'm going to come over to where our potatoes are. They're looking pretty good. I'm going to turn the heat up on them just a little bit. And apple cider vinegar is kind of the same as oil. You want to get unfiltered, unprocessed as much as possible vinegar. So this one, again, it had sediment on the bottom, and I had to shake it up. So I'm going to do just a little bit of vinegar. It's going to make a sizzle sound. I'm going to mix that up in there. And that vinegar will kind of burn off. It also tends to mix with the oil a little bit and thicken up. But the potatoes will soak that up, and the onions will soak that up. And it's pretty good, I think. It gives it a little bit of a tang. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and get the skillet heated up for the eggs. Alright, so this skillet wasn't working so much, but the veggies were done, so I moved them in here, moved the potatoes back, and I got this skillet heating up for the eggs. Now, for eggs, I really love to use a little bit of butter as the base because it makes a great base, tastes great on the eggs. But we're using peanut oil this morning, so I'll try not to get too much. Try to just get a little bit, and kind of use the skillet. And you want to kind of coat the whole bottom, and it'll get easier kind of as the oil heats up. But butter coats the bottom really nicely, which is one of the reasons I like to use it. Now, I found that omelets work better if you don't have the heat too high. A lot of people tend to kind of burn omelets and everything. And so if you don't have the heat too high, it works pretty well. And this skillet's not coating very well. But it's a non-stick skillet, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe we don't even need that much oil. I'm going to go ahead and add some egg. Alright, I'm adding enough egg to kind of coat the bottom a little bit. And about half the egg, since I did 2 eggs, we did 2 egg omelets. And when I pour the egg in, I like to add the tarragon, and I kind of spread it across the whole thing there. I didn't get that one spread out too well, but just kind of spread it out evenly on there. And then chipotle chili pepper, kind of the same thing. I like to get it spread out on there. Then we can go ahead and add salt. Dip my salt in a bowl, just sprinkle the salt on there. And I can go ahead and add salt to the potatoes at this time too. Sprinkle a little bit on there. And where's our pepper? We have some pepper. Go ahead and put some pepper on the potatoes. And go ahead and put some pepper on the eggs. And since our veggies have sauteed separately, we don't really need to add them until right at the end. For the potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and turn them off at this point. I'm going to add some garam masala and some garlic powder. I like a lot of garlic powder. Sometimes people say too much, but Miranda likes garlic too, so it's okay. And then some garlic powder on the eggs. And that should be pretty delicious. We'll be back in a second. And so the omelet's been cooking on low heat, and you can see it as it starts to solidify. It should even slide around in the pan a little bit. And sometimes you can put the vegetables on and then put the cheese on top, or sometimes, depending on what vegetables you're using and how small you cut them, you don't have to saute them first. You can just put them right into the egg at the very beginning. But this time, I'm going to go ahead and put a bunch of cheese down here. I'm making a super cheesy omelet. And then I'm just going to lay some of the vegetables right on top. And I try to keep it to one side so I'll be able to flip it, or be able to fold it in half, rather. And I might have should have used some prongs or something like that. That's going to be a fat omelet. You ready for this, Miranda?
I guess. Is that one going to be mine?
Yep.
Okay.
I always say mine for the end. And we should be able to flip it at this point. Maybe not. Maybe it's not quite ready to flip yet. Looks like the yogurt's made the egg a little soft. Yep, so yogurt and eggs isn't the best for omelets. It doesn't seem, makes them a little soft. This might turn into a scramble. Here we go.
Yay.
Well, looks like we got it, huh?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay. Then, while that's finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and get some potatoes on a plate. We'll be right here. You want to back that up? We'll get some potatoes down here. And get the omelet. Now, if you're going for show and everything, you can put a little bit of cheese across the top. And I think dill looks really nice on top. If we have any, we do have some dill. Some people don't really like dill, but
I'm not a huge fan.
you just sprinkle a little on top, and it kind of makes the plate look nice and everything. Some dill is really bright green, and that makes it look nice. But there we go. Beautiful.